Let's get into some of the basic configuration we can do on Cisco iOS. First, we will configure a password for the console interface. This means if you plug in our laptop or computer into this console port, it will require a password before getting access to the user mode. So let's do that now. Let's type in line console 0, password, followed by our password that we want to use, which would be Cisco123. And that's it. Let's go ahead and say exit. Next, we will configure a password for the VTY interface used for Telnet and SSH access. So this time we'll type in line VTY 0 space 4, followed by password and Cisco123 for our password. Once we're done, let's type in exit to go back to the global config level. Next, we will configure our enable password that will require authentication before gaining access to the privilege mode. So this enable password can be configured in two ways, and I'll show you. So we'll type in enable and then question mark. So we can configure enable secret, which is here, or enable password. Now first we want to configure the enable secret, as the enable secret will apply a one-way hash and is more secure. So we'll type in secret, then our password we want to use for the enable password, which would be Cisco123. Let's exit out of the config mode and look at our running configuration to see what our enable secret looks like. Okay, so here we see enable secret followed by 5, because this is considered as a one-way hash type password. And this is the actual password that is, well, encrypted somewhat. We see numbers, characters, and other kind of parameters here. This is what's secure that cannot be easily cracked to determine what is the password that is used for the enable secret, which is Cisco123. Now let's remove that enable secret and configure the enable password instead. So we'll say no enable secret. Then we'll type in enable password and then Cisco123 again. Now let's look at the running config again. Scroll down here till we see it. And here you can see that enable password is Cisco123. So again, this is basically what's the default. It will not encrypt the actual password. Enable secret will by default and will apply a one-way hash. So here in our config file, we see the password in clear text. We can add some additional security by encrypting all basic passwords, like the enable password that is shown here. So to do that, let's go back into our config mode, which we're in now, and we'll type in the following command, which would be service password encryption. Now let's go back to the running config. And now we see a very basic encryption for the enable password. But this can be cracked. We can use various applications like FreePass that we can actually copy this information in to obtain that password. So all basic passwords will contain the number of 7 instead of 5 that you saw for the enable secret. Another command that we can use to look at the command history on a Cisco device is the command show history. This will provide all basic commands that we have been typing in so far, not configuration commands, only commands like show run, show version, show IP interface brief that we talked about before, enable, disable, even config T. So very basic commands to see what we typed in during our open session right now.